Today's gamer has hundreds of first-person shooters to choose from, including a recent remake of the very first one. Yes, welcome to Wolfenstein 2009, or Willkommen aus Wolfenstein 2009, as the Nazis would say. I'm a tit. It's set in 1943, and you play an American hero called B.J. Blazkowicz, although you might as well be a bit of rag on a stick for all the difference it makes. The setup is pretty standard stuff for a first-person shooter. You've got some vaguely authentic World War II weapons, and you set about unrelentingly slaughtering members of the Third Reich without a care for their families, although I like to spice things up by imagining their backstories. This is Kurt, he's a dad of 3. That's Christmas for your kids. This is Henning, he's got a sweetheart back home who's going to be missing him. It's alright, he's a Nazi. As we all learned in documentaries like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Nazis weren't just uniformed retro anti-Semites, no, they were also well into the occult, and the Nazis in Wolfenstein aren't any different. Anyway, it's not just the Nazis who go all magic, it's also you, or rather B.J. Blazkowicz, the dick you're having to be. Early on, B.J. finds a magic amulet thing that gives him special abilities, like the ability to access a sort of alternate reality called the Veil, which looks like a sort of 1940s version of Tron. He's also got the power to slow down time, so he can shoot Nazis in the neck in slow motion. Like this. It all looks pretty enough, in as much as an occult rerun of World War II can look pretty, and the game isn't bad, it's just not hugely exciting or innovative. The mix of realistic weapons and mystical silliness is a bit weird, and the World War II shooter is an oversubscribed genre that's been done better before. The Nazis are a bit of a pain in the arse as well, to be honest. They spend most of their time just spouting stupid Nazi catchphrases, which makes it feel a bit like you've just gone berserk on the set of Allo Allo, which would have made for a more interesting game.
Get him now!
Because the game is set up with a vague nod to open world scenarios, you have to spend a lot of time wandering around in between missions, endlessly retracing your steps in a depressing little town looking for jobs to do. It's like living in Stoke. And you have to have loads of conversations with all these really boring, humorless members of the resistance, which means you end up sympathising with the Nazis.
Agent Blazkowicz, the device you discovered in the hospital basement is the Thule portal.
I always find myself doing the same thing when I'm faced with a boring conversation in games like this. I just sort of wander pointlessly around the room and look from side to side while they're talking. Or sometimes just jump up and down pointlessly. And what are you going to do, talk the Nazis to death? Anyway, call me a fusty old man, but I think the original Wolfenstein had some humour to it and some charm, whereas this is just a game in which you find yourself fighting off the Nazis and déjà vu, sometimes with an axe.